Chosen one, listen carefully. What you are about to hear is not a coincidence, and it is not meant for everyone. This message carries weight, intention, and divine timing. If you feel something stirring in your spirit right now, something deeper than curiosity, something quieter than fear, then this message has found you exactly when it was supposed to. Not too early, not too late. Right on time. In the next 3 days, something big will happen. Not by accident, not by chance, and not as a punishment. God is warning you because He loves you, because He has chosen you, and because what is coming requires awareness rather than panic. These next 3 days are not meant to make you anxious. They are meant to make you attentive. They mark a turning point, a spiritual threshold where alignment matters more than action. Many people misunderstand divine warnings. They assume that a warning means danger is chasing them. But for the chosen ones, a warning usually means God is already ahead of you. He speaks not to frighten you, but to prepare you. He speaks because something meaningful is unfolding, and He wants your heart positioned correctly before it does. Fear scatters the mind, but awareness anchors the soul, and God is calling you into awareness. This message did not reach you randomly. Even if your mind cannot fully explain why you clicked, why you stayed, or why these words feel personal, your spirit understands. Heaven moves with precision. God does not waste moments, and He does not interrupt your life without purpose. If you are here, it is because your soul needed clarity, peace, and direction, whether you realized it or not. The next 3 days are critical, not because you must do something dramatic, but because you must become conscious. God is not asking you to rush, fix, or force anything. He is asking you to slow down enough to notice. Notice what has been surfacing in your thoughts. Notice the restlessness, the quiet pressure, the sense that something is shifting beneath the surface, even though nothing around you looks different yet. That feeling is not imagination, it is spiritual sensitivity. Throughout Scripture and spiritual history, God has always moved through appointed times. When He acts, He does so with intention and precision. And before major shifts, there is often a pause, a still moment where the heart is tested, refined, and aligned. You are standing in one of those moments now. So take a breath. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not missing anything. These next 3 days are not about perfection. They are about posture. What matters most is not what happens around you, but what happens within you. Stay with this message until the end. What God is revealing will bring clarity to your mind, peace to your heart, and direction to your steps. Something big is coming, and you are being lovingly prepared for it. Chosen one, I want you to slow your mind for a moment and listen with your spirit. The next 3 days are not just numbers on a calendar. They are not ordinary time passing. They are a spiritual window, a brief but meaningful season where heaven is especially attentive to alignment, awareness, and posture of heart. God has always worked through appointed times, and when He moves, He does so with intention, not randomness. Throughout Scripture and spiritual history, God consistently signals before a shift takes place, not to create fear, but to prepare the heart. Preparation is one of God's greatest acts of love. Before transformation comes awareness. Before movement comes stillness. And before revelation comes a quiet pressure that many chosen ones feel but can cannot fully explain. If you have been experiencing restlessness lately, a subtle heaviness mixed with expectation or a sense that something is about to change, even though nothing around you looks different, you are not imagining it. That sensation is not anxiety, it is discernment. Your spirit is responding to what heaven is preparing. These next 3 days matter because they are a period of alignment, not activity. God is not asking you to do more right now. He is asking you to listen more. Many chosen ones make the mistake of rushing when God is calling them to stillness. Movement feels productive, but stillness is often where divine instruction is released. In stillness, distractions lose their power and truth becomes clearer. Heaven watches not your speed, but your sensitivity. During these 3 days, God is observing how you respond, not with your words, but with your inner posture. You may have noticed distractions increasing recently, small things irritating you more than usual, old emotions resurfacing, thoughts attempting to pull you back into doubt, fear, or self-questioning. This is not accidental. Resistance often intensifies right before a breakthrough. The enemy does not attack what is insignificant. Pressure is proof that something valuable is near. But understand this clearly. God allows this tension not to break you, but to sharpen your discernment. These 3 days are also a quiet testing ground for trust. God is watching whether you will lean on your own understanding or rest in His wisdom. Chosen ones are often tested privately. There is no audience, no applause, just you, God, and the decisions you make when no one else sees. This season is not about rushing to conclusions or forcing outcomes. God is not rushing you, but He is inviting you to be aware. Awareness is a spiritual discipline. When you are aware, you do not overreact. You do not panic. You do not try to control what is unfolding. You remain grounded, observant, and prayerful. That is the posture God is calling you into during these next 3 days. Some of you have been asking God for clarity. Others have been asking for peace. Some have been asking for direction. God answers these prayers in stages. First comes awareness. Then comes separation. Then comes revelation. You are currently in the awareness stage. Things are being highlighted in your life for a reason. Certain people, habits, thoughts, and patterns. God is gently showing you what can move forward with you and what cannot. Do not mistake this moment as delay. Delay feels heavy. Preparation feels intentional. God prepares His chosen ones privately before He positions them publicly. These next 3 days are one of those private moments. They matter more than you realize. Chosen one. I need you to understand this clearly and without confusion. God's warning is never meant to frighten you. It is meant to awaken you. There is a profound difference. Fear scatters the mind and drains strength, but a divine warning sharpens focus and steadies the spirit. What God is doing right now is not sounding an alarm. It is drawing your attention. He is gently saying, look closer, listen, deeper, slow down. Most of the time, God does not warn His chosen ones about external danger first. He warns about internal misalignment. He speaks when the heart begins to drift, when focus weakens, when emotions start leading instead of faith. And if you are honest with yourself, you already sense what He is pointing at. God rarely introduces something new in a warning. He highlights what he has already been whispering about. Some of you are being warned about attachments, not because the person, habit, or situation is evil, but because it no longer aligns with where God is taking you. Certain connections were right for a previous season, but are too heavy for the next. God is not asking you to reject anyone with bitterness. He is asking you to loosen your grip. When you hold tightly to what God is asking you to release, inner resistance forms, and that resistance is what drains your peace. Others are being warned about delay. Delayed obedience does not always look like rebellion. Often it looks like hesitation, overthinking, waiting for a better moment, or waiting until you feel more confident. But chosen one confidence grows after obedience, not before it. God is gently reminding you not to keep postponing what he has already confirmed in your spirit. There are also warnings about emotional patterns. Some of you find yourselves returning to the same mental loops, the same doubts, the same self-questioning, the same fear of being misunderstood or overlooked. God is calling your attention to your inner dialogue. Not every thought deserves agreement. Not every feeling deserves authority. A warning sometimes arrives as a reminder that you are giving too much power to voices that do not speak truth. God may also be warning you about comfort. Comfort is one of the most subtle distractions for chosen ones. It feels safe, reasonable, and calm. But comfort can quietly replace obedience if you are not attentive. When God calls you higher, the level you are leaving will start to feel uncomfortable. That discomfort is not failure, it is growth. Pay attention also to how God may be warning you through stillness. Sometimes the warning is not loud. It shows up as a lack of peace, a hesitation in your spirit, or a heaviness when you consider a certain path. Peace is a compass. When it begins to fade, something is off. God often removes peace before he removes people or situations. Some of you are being warned about speaking too much, explaining yourself, defending what God has already approved. When God is about to move, silence becomes protection. Not everyone needs access to your process. Discernment is knowing what to share, when to share, and with whom. There are also warnings about exhaustion. Chosen ones often carry more than they were meant to. God is reminding you that rest is not laziness, it is obedience. When you are constantly tired, discernment weakens. God is asking you to slow down, not because you are weak, but because what is coming requires clarity. Chosen one, you are not being judged, you are being guided. This warning is not about what you might lose. It is about what God is protecting. Receive it as an act of love. Let it soften you, not harden you. God is near and he is preparing you for alignment with what he has already prepared for you. Chosen one, I want to settle your heart right now. When people hear the words something big will happen, the mind often runs ahead of the spirit. It imagines chaos, loss, fear, or sudden upheaval. But that is not how God works with his chosen ones. God does not shock his children. He prepares them. When God says something big is coming, he is not speaking of destruction. He is speaking of transformation. Something big does not always arrive loudly. In fact, some of the greatest moves of God begin quietly. They start as an internal shift. a change in perception, a soft but powerful realignment of desire, a clarity that alters how you see people, situations, and even yourself. You may wake up and realize that what once mattered no longer holds the same weight. That is not confusion. That is growth. That is God recalibrating your inner world before He adjusts your outer one. For some of you, something big means an ending. Endings are uncomfortable even when they are necessary. God often removes before He replaces. He clears space before He fills it. When something exits your life during a divine season, it is not always because it was wrong. Sometimes it is because it has fulfilled its purpose. Chosen one, do not mourn what God is asking you to outgrow. You cannot carry an old season into a new assignment. For others, something big means revelation. A truth you were not ready to see before suddenly becomes clear. You understand why certain prayers were delayed. You see why some doors never opened. You recognize patterns that once confused you. Revelation can feel heavy at first because it confronts illusion, but it ultimately brings freedom. Truth may sting briefly, but it heals deeply. Something big can also mean divine separation. God sometimes creates distance not to isolate you, but to protect you. He may pull you away from certain people, conversations, or environments that no longer nourish your spirit. This separation can feel lonely, but it is intentional. Growth requires focus, and focus requires fewer distractions. God reduces noise so you can hear Him clearly. I need you to understand this: big does not mean harmful. Big does not mean loss without purpose. Big does not mean you are about to fall. Often big means you are about to rise. But rising requires release. Rising requires trust. Rising requires you to let go of who you were so you can step into who you are becoming. Some of you will experience something big internally, a burden lifting, a peace returning, a confidence settling into your spirit. You may not be able to explain it to anyone else, but you will feel lighter, clearer, steadier. This internal shift is often more powerful than any external event, because when the inside changes, the outside eventually follows. Others may experience something big externally, a door closing, a truth coming to light, a responsibility being placed on your shoulders. Even then, God does not leave you unprepared. If a door closes suddenly, it is because staying would have cost you more than leaving. If truth is revealed, it is because living in illusion would have delayed your destiny. God does not expose to shame, He exposes to free. There is also a group of chosen ones for whom something big will look like peace, real peace, not dependent on circumstances, but anchored in trust. Peace is one of the greatest signs of divine alignment. Chosen one, when God moves, it is always to build you, not break you. And when you look back, you will say, "This season did not destroy me. It prepared me." Chosen one, what you are experiencing right now is not random, and it is not a sign that something has gone wrong. It is a sign that God is positioning you. Positioning often feels uncomfortable because it requires movement without full explanation. God rarely reveals the entire picture at once. He adjusts you internally before he shifts you externally, and that is why this season may feel quiet, heavy, or even isolating. Many chosen ones go through a phase where they feel misunderstood. Conversations that once felt natural now feel shallow. People who once resonated with you no longer seem to connect. Certain environments drain you instead of energizing you. This is not arrogance and it is not judgment. It is awareness. As your spirit matures, your tolerance for misalignment decreases. What once felt normal now feels off, and that discomfort is part of positioning. Isolation is one of God's most misunderstood tools. When God isolates a chosen one, it is not to punish them, but to prepare them. He pulls you aside so he can speak without interruption. Noise interferes with instruction. When everyone has access to you, discernment weakens. In this quiet space, God rebuilds your focus, your confidence, and your dependence on him rather than on external validation. You may notice that your patience has been tested more than usual. Small delays, unexpected obstacles, situations that force you to wait. This is not God slowing you down. This is God strengthening your endurance. What is coming will require emotional stability, not impulsive reactions. God is teaching you how to remain grounded when outcomes are uncertain. Some of you feel like you are ahead of time. You see things others do not. You sense what is coming before it arrives. That awareness can feel lonely, but being early is part of positioning. God places his chosen ones ahead of time so they can withstand what would overwhelm others later. Early does not mean forgotten, it means entrusted. There is also a refining happening in your identity. God is stripping away labels that came from people instead of from him. You may feel less attached to titles, roles, or approval. That is because God wants you anchored in who you are, not in how others perceive you. When your identity is rooted in God, rejection loses its power and praise loses its control. Some chosen ones are being positioned through loss of connection routine or expectations. This does not mean God has abandoned you. It means he is making room. Holding on to what no longer fits can delay what does. God removes weight so you can move freely. Even when the loss hurts, it is often lighter than what you were carrying before. You may also notice your discernment sharpening. You sense truth more quickly. You feel when something is genuine and when it is not. This is not suspicion. It is maturity. God is positioning you to influence, guide, or lead, and that requires wisdom. Chosen one, you are not being hidden. You are being protected. You are not being delayed. You are being developed. Every moment of this season is intentional. Trust the positioning. When the moment comes, you will realize that nothing was wasted. Chosen one, I want you to understand something that will settle your heart deeply. God never asks for obedience without already preparing a reward. Obedience is not about restriction or control. It is about access. When you align yourself with God's guidance, you step into a flow where resistance decreases and clarity increases. Alignment does not mean life becomes effortless, but it does mean life becomes purposeful. One of the first rewards of obedience is inner stability. When you choose alignment, emotional chaos begins to quiet. You still feel emotions, but they no longer control you. Situations that once triggered anxiety or impulsive reactions lose their grip. This is not numbness, it is maturity. God is teaching you how to respond instead of react, how to observe instead of panic. When emotions no longer lead, wisdom finally has room to operate. Another reward is clarity. Confusion thrives where alignment is missing. When you obey God, even in small, quiet ways, mental fog begins to lift. Discernment sharpens. You start seeing situations for what they truly are, not just how they feel. This clarity produces a grounded confidence, not arrogance, not noise, but a calm certainty that you are walking in truth. You stop second guessing every step because your spirit feels settled. Peace is also a powerful reward of alignment. Not shallow peace that depends on circumstances, but deep peace that anchors you even when things are uncertain. Peace does not mean everything around you is perfect. It means everything within you is steady. When you are aligned with God, fear loses its authority. Doubt may still whisper, but it no longer dominates your decisions. Peace becomes your foundation instead of something you chase. Alignment also brings protection. Many people only recognize God's protection in hindsight. Closed doors, delays, and redirections often feel disappointing in the moment, but obedience shields you from paths that would have drained you, damaged you, or delayed your destiny. God blocks what looks good when it would have cost you more than you realize. When you trust His redirection, you avoid unnecessary pain. There is healing that comes through obedience as well. Old wounds begin to lose their charge. Past disappointments stop defining your expectations. You no longer project yesterday's pain onto today's opportunities. Healing is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is gradual. One day, you simply notice that something no longer hurts the way it used to. That is the quiet reward of alignment. Obedience also strengthens your relationship with God. Trust deepens intimacy. Faith stops being theoretical and becomes personal. You no longer rely only on what you have heard about God. You rely on what you have experienced with Him. That kind of faith is unshakable. It produces spiritual authority, not loud, not forceful, but steady and grounded. Chosen one alignment also attracts the right connections. When you stop chasing people and focus on obeying God, relationships realign naturally. Some fall away without conflict. Others are drawn to you without effort. God brings people who match your season, not your past. Understand this clearly. Obedience does not earn God's love. Love is already given. Obedience positions you to receive what He has already prepared. Nothing you surrender in alignment is ever wasted. Every quiet yes, every moment of restraint, every act of trust deposits something into your future. And when the reward unfolds, it brings peace, clarity, and strength that no one can take away. Chosen one, take a deep breath and let everything you have heard settle into your spirit. God did not warn you because something bad is chasing you. He warned you because He is walking ahead of you. These next 3 days matter not because you must perform perfectly or figure everything out, but because God is inviting you to stay aware, aligned, and anchored in Him. You are not facing this season alone. You never were. Everything you are sensing right now has purpose. The heaviness, the clarity, the emotions, the stillness, even the hesitation. None of it is wasted. God is refining you, not breaking you. He is protecting you, not restricting you. And what is unfolding is happening with divine precision, even if your mind still wants more answers. Remember, this being chosen does not mean being rushed. It means being guided. It means being watched over. It means being corrected with love and led with intention. God is far more interested in your alignment than your speed. What He is doing in you now will make sense later when you look back and realize that every pause, every delay, every quiet moment was shaping you for what comes next. Your responsibility in this season is not to control outcomes, interpret every sign, or anticipate every shift. Your responsibility is to stay close to God, stay sensitive to His peace, stay honest in your prayers, stay grounded when emotions rise. Trust that if something is being removed, it is because it cannot go where God is taking you. And if something is being prepared, it will arrive at the right time, not a moment early or late. Chosen one, release the need to explain yourself. Release the need to be understood by everyone. Release the pressure to have it all together. God knows your heart. He sees your faith even when it feels fragile. He honors your quiet obedience even when no one else notices. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be. I speak peace over your mind right now. I speak calm over your heart. I speak clarity over your path. Let fear lose its grip. Let trust rise in its place. Whatever God is removing, let it go with confidence. Whatever He is building, receive it with humility. You do not need to brace yourself for what is coming. You are being prepared for it. As these next 3 days unfold, stay calm, stay observant, stay faithful. Do not overreact to what shifts and do not cling to what fades. God is already ahead of you, arranging details you cannot see yet. What feels uncertain now will soon feel intentional. When you look back on this season, you will not say it confused you or weakened you. You will say it strengthened you. You will see how awareness protected you, how alignment guided you, and how obedience positioned you perfectly. Something big is unfolding, and you are ready, not because you are perfect, but because you are aligned. Stay grounded. Stay faithful. Stay close to God. The path ahead is already prepared, and you are walking it with divine guidance every step of the way.